Welcome to a special edition of Pivot and Profit. As you can see, we're not at our usual surroundings in Kigali. We are in Uganda's capital city, Kampala, and I'm talking to a friend, someone I met in another world. But today's conversation is about growth. How do you grow a microfinance? How do you grow it into a bank? How do you even start it? Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is Joshua Mazune. He is the CEO of Maru Credit. Good friends to the K Financial. As always, I'm your host, Arnold Kwizera Joshua. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for making the time.
Thanks, Arnold. Thanks for having me.
How's it?
It's good. It's good.
The potholes have done me today a little bit, and a good friend, a mutual friend of ours, told me I should enjoy this city a lot more than complain about the potholes.
I mean, these roads have been in a poor state for a long time, so
I still want to visit. But this is my other home. One of my, I believe, 3 homes on the continent. I really love it here from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. It is the best place to be.
But the potholes are still there that time.
You don't notice them during enjoyment hours. Not much.
A lot of things get blurry.
Very, very blurry, but we love it there. Joshua, I don't know where to start from. Maru Credit, first of all, impressive job that you guys have done there. Thank you for sponsoring our golf club night.
Thank you. Thank you.
As well, do you play?
Yes, I do.
Now you owe me a game.
Whenever you're ready.
Handicap?
18.
Is that your commercial handicap or your real handicap?
We'll find out in the course.
So we'll do a game. Joshua, coming back, Maru Credit. It has been an impressive journey over the years. You've built a bunch of businesses as well before Maru Credit. But let's go forward before we go backwards. Did you ever see yourself here today as the CEO of one of the fastest growing MFIs on the continent?
We always aspired to be where we're at now, and we aspire to be even further. And it's been a journey. We've learned a lot along the way. We are happy for the growth that we've had in the last few years, and we're grateful for the team that supports this growth and the team that works to ensure that we've gotten to this place. So we did see ourselves, but a lot of work was put in to get to this point.
It's not often that you see a financial institution, in a period of, I believe, about 6 to 7 years that you guys have been around, move as fast and have as much impact. Arguably, in a time when the world had a stop, right? When you have the COVID pandemic coming right in the middle of when you guys had just started walking, and then coming out of that pandemic and bang, Maru Credit is off and it's running. How did you navigate that? How did you not turn the lights off?
That's a very interesting question, because some of the expansions that we did were during the pandemic itself. Right?
Seriously?
Yes. The current office that we moved into was during the pandemic, or 2020, around August. So at that point, SMEs needed financial support, right? Government was bailing out businesses. Banks were doing the same thing. They had COVID resilient funds. So we, at our level, decided and deliberately to support businesses, expand our team, grow it, but also to support businesses come out of the gap that was caused by the pandemic, by providing access to finance for them, to boost their businesses, to kickstart them. We had a lot of traders who had containers that were stuck in demurrage for a long time. So after the pandemic, we had to kickstart and boost these businesses.
Yeah. So Joshua, when you look at the growth of Maru Credit, one felt like, during the pandemic, it was like a stopgap for many businesses. And Maru Credit was just born before the COVID pandemic. Yeah. And then it came flying out straight after the pandemic. What was the trick there? And how, they say never waste a good crisis. It's such an amazing opportunity. How did Maru grow and expand and start running during such a tough business period for other growing businesses?
Our mission has always been to support SMEs, right? So when the pandemic happened and after people were coming out of the recovery from the pandemic, we had to take a deliberate decision to support these businesses as well, support the microfinances that we finance, the SMEs that we finance. And we decided to expand during that period, hire a bigger team, move into much larger offices, get support staff, get the best talent that can support these businesses. So it was difficult for us as a business as well, but we had to continue with our mission on supporting and providing financial services to the SMEs that we support.
Joshua, what you're telling me reminds me of a story on Kenya Airways and Ethiopia, right? Just before the 07, 08 financial crisis. You have one company that suffered because of the pandemic, and then you have another, and just because of decisions that were made, one decided to buy planes, the other decided to lease them. The leasing turned out to be very costly for one airline. The other that decided to buy the planes after the crisis found them more affordable, and right now is Africa's most and only profitable airline. Maru Credit feels like a very similar story, right? Don't waste a good pandemic. But there's something you've touched there that previous guests on the show have often cited as one of the major struggles: hiring the best talent. For a business that's growing, the talent you're usually hiring, you're competing with more developed players coming in from the big tire banks. How do you ensure that you have the best talent?
One, the talent that you hire needs to be bought into the vision of the company that you're trying to build, right? So if you share that vision with them, they may stick with you regardless of other offers that come along. But that doesn't mean that the compensation should be less than, let's say, what the market is offering, right? So we ensure that the talent that we get on board is in line with the vision of our company, of Maru Credit. It's in line with our mission. And we ensure that we keep training and upskilling them and growing with them, because majority of our staff are all under 40, right? So we have a young team. They are as hungry as we are. We are skilling them. We are skilling each other. And that's what keeps them around.
It's often cited, especially, I don't know how young your team is, and you've mentioned below the age of 40, but more often for businesses, and this is coming from the other people that have been in your chair, they've said they've struggled, especially with the younger people, to have the hunger and the purpose. Where's the touch point? What do you do differently? What do you say? What's the magic wand in ensuring that beyond the money? Because the younger people seem to want much more than money. You keep them there. That you attract the best people, young people, but also keep them there beyond the paycheck, beyond the reskilling, to just give them that purpose.
So what we do, we like to have them buy into the vision of the business. What we've been building with Maru, we're trying to grow into at least a top 5 microfinance in the region, right? So they are bought into that vision. They've seen the journey that we've walked with them, especially those that we've been with from the beginning. So it's been hard for them to. It feels like home. They're like family, right? We keep walking this journey with them. We keep empowering them with tools that can help them upskill themselves. We keep compensating them better.
Joshua, how does one become an MD of Maru? CEO.
You found it. I'm kidding. Well, how do you become the MD of Maru? Well, the way I became the MD of Maru is I'm a co-founder of the business. So that is my story. I don't know any other way someone will become the MD of Maru, but I'm on a journey. We have obviously a succession plan in place. We have strong governance. So my journey at Maru as CEO, M/MD, might end at a particular time, and maybe I'm elevated to the board and we recruit another MD to take on, because I don't believe that I should run the company forever and ever. There is a time for. I was watching a video of a guy talking about the life cycles of a business, right? And the different stages of a business. So the right MD for Maru right now might be me, but let's say 20, 10, 15 years down the road, it may need someone else who understands the market at that point. So as far as my board is concerned, I am the right fit.
2017, 2018, when
Yeah.
you and your partners decide to form Maru, what is that conversation like? Where do you drop the initial sketch? How
came
do you guys
about.
come up with this idea? Where you're seated? Why do you decide to get into this line of business?
So I've run different businesses before, and I'm involved in many other businesses up to now. And in one of the businesses that I'm involved in, we had an issue, a funding gap, and we needed financing from elsewhere. So I ran to the banks, I ran to different microfinances. I wasn't able to get the money in time. So what ended up happening? I ended up at basically a money lender's place, right, to borrow the money that we needed to kickstart this project. And I put my car as collateral. We got the money, we did the business, but with any business in Uganda, the suppliers took long to pay. And by the time they paid and I paid back the loan, I had paid almost twice as much in interest. And that sparked an idea in me. So I approached a few friends, a couple of them, and one was interested. Like, okay, you know what, let's turn this into a business. Let's do things the right way. Let us be basically ethical in the way that we deal with our customers. Let us have strong policies, strong governance, strong leadership, so that the experience that we had, it wasn't a great experience, for example, getting that financing and the process that they took us through. And a lot of SMEs face the same challenge in this country and in the region, really. So we said, okay, there's an opportunity here. How can SMEs access capital in a professional and open manner, where there are no hidden fees and hidden charges and things hidden within the fine print? And that's what we're trying to build.
What has been the hardest part of your journey so far with Maru?
Where do I start?
At the bottom.
Running a business in Kampala or in the region or in Africa is very difficult, right? You have to build everything yourself. What even if it's the simplest of things, it's hard to integrate with other platforms or with other systems. I'm not talking about the technology systems. I'm talking about basically the East African or the Ugandan system, where let's say you need a pool of salesmen and you can just go and tap from them. You have to train every single member of your team, skill them to the standard that you need if you're able to succeed in this market the way you want to succeed, right? So I've played every role in the business. I have been an accountant, I have been a cashier, I've been a loans officer, I've been a securities officer, I've been every single aspect of the business. I know it in and out. So that is one of the biggest challenges we face, is vertical integration. You have to build that yourself. The cost of capital in Uganda or in the region is high, right? And the people that we finance are a little bit lower below the pyramid than your typical top clients that a bank will finance, for example. So the cost of financing them is higher. The risk that we carry is higher. The cost of due diligence as well in this market is higher. There is no system. Well, there are reference bureaus that we use, but if they had more data to the point where we know that, okay, you've defaulted on
A border loan somewhere.
not even just a border loan, water payment, for example, right? You're behind on your bills. That will help us assess the credit worthiness of a client. So sometimes you have to build these credit scoring tools internally. That's where the challenge is. Cost of capital, the risk of the clients that we deal with, how unbanked they are. There is no information that we can use.
Who is Joshua Mazune?
I'm a businessman. I love golf. I love hosting people at a small restaurant that I have in Bugalobi. And above all that, I'm married. I'm a father.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
In all the businesses you've started as Joshua, with the various business partners you have, what is that one business you look back at and you're like, that was my learning point, that was my turning point that turned me into person XYZ?
What was my turning point? I think my turning point was the point at which we needed to get financing for a different company that I'm involved in that ended up kickstarting the idea of Maru. I think that was a turning point. Because that frustration of looking around for financing, you can't get it. And it was about, I think, maybe 20 million at the time, all right? We needed 20 million finance and LPO. You failed to get it. You've gone to the bank, they've told you all sorts of stories, they've asked for damn near your blood group, right? So that's the point that flipped, and I was like, okay, you know what? We need to do something about this. We need to build a company that can at least solve this problem. Access to finance for SMEs. And they're the majority in the market right now, especially like the gig economy, like the space that we're in now. Like, where would he get credit?
As people grow and as people evolve, people tend to align with either an old purpose or a new one. Over your journey, has that purpose changed? If you look back and you're talking to 20-year-old Joshua, does he still move and align to that same purpose? Or has that evolved over time?
I feel like we're always in a stage of evolution, right? You keep rediscovering yourself. You keep getting better and better at what you do, if you're intentional about it. But if I was to, let's say, call 20-year-old Josh and have a conversation with him, first of all, I'll tell him first, party less. I'll tell him, execution is better than strategy, right? I'll tell him, put your strategy on paper, but quickly execute it, because if you don't execute it, someone else will, and then you'll be that guy talking about, oh yeah, I had that idea 3 years ago. Yeah.
If you had to look at one personal moment in your life, you're like, okay, this was my turning point. Mine, our good mutual friend, Susan, shout out Susan, it knows my turning point was the death of my mother. That like
Sorry about that.
Yeah. It flipped my switch and I just became this different person. When you look back at your personal life, do you ever have a moment you look back and you're like, okay, that changed my perception on the world. It stopped me from being as naive as I was. And it was like a light bulb moment.
I think for me, that was about 9 weeks ago.
Ooh.
After the birth of my daughter, right? So
Congratulations again.
Thank you. You see the world in a different perspective.
I hear so many people say that, and I don't believe it. I think I'll believe it if I ever get to have children. But does it come at the moment you hold the baby, or does it come at the moment you see the baby?
It's the entire process, right? It's from your wife in labor to the first cry of your child, to you holding them, to you placing them on your skin and knowing this is your child. So it gives you a whole new purpose.
Has that changed has that first of all changed your schedule? Like, dealing with a baby as well. Do you believe you're going to be that guy, the hands-on dad? I don't think I will.
Oh, definitely. I have to. I already am. So
you change the diaper?
I do everything.
Okay. Well done. You're better than many of us out there.
Yeah.
Josh, when you look at ahead as the man Joshua wants to be, where do you see Maru in that picture?
Would want to see Maru at a point where we are creating impact in the communities in which we live, right? Not just Uganda, not just in the region, right? But even at a continental level, right? We're creating impact, we're providing jobs, we're providing access to finance, we are growing with these businesses. Our tagline is we are your growth partner. And that's who we want to be, not just to the businesses that we support, but to the teams that we have internally, our staff, our partners, our investors, everyone. That's who we want to be. We want to be their growth partner. We want to grow together.
If there's one country that is big on growth, it's Rwanda. So hopefully we'll see you in Kigali sooner rather than later.
Who knows? Definitely. We would want to come by and have a look and see.
Just when you look at MFIs, coming back to Maru, the growth of MFIs across the region, then across the continent, there's a very big contrast, right? When you look at Southern Africa, MFIs they're needed, but are not as many. When you look at Western Africa, there are hardly any. When you look at East Africa, it's a market that feels a little bit saturated. Do you see, with coming in of things like the African Free Continental Trade Area that allows businesses to cut across multiple parts of the continent, do you see the importance of a business like Maru in these markets? And if you had to put a time frame to that, where is it?
It's hard to put a time frame to that, first of all. But with less barriers to entry in different markets to make business much easier. The less barriers we have to enter, let's say Rwanda or Kenya, South Sudan, Burundi, Tanzania, the less barriers we have, the faster we'll be able to trade together and do business together and then scale. But there's no way of putting a time frame to that.
What has been the biggest challenge along the way in the growth of Maru?
The cost of capital.
Again,
The cost of capital.
You mentioned the cost of capital as one of the biggest challenges. I was talking to a good friend to the show, and she's a big advocate for going cashless for the continent. And she still says, if we go cashless, that could be close to a silver bullet to the cost of capital. We need to look more inwards than look outwards to where we get our capital flow from. Do you believe that could be a silver bullet, or do you think another way, something else could be done to reduce the cost of capital?
I'm yet to understand how going cashless impacts the cost of capital. I'm yet to...
Josh, see, it's very simple, right? Let's say, if you have money, today I was making payments, right? And the person asked me to send them, so the payment was about 550,000 Uganda shillings. And they needed me, then they sent me another message, you need to send withdraw fees.
Okay.
It's been a minute since that has happened in any of the other places, right? And they said withdraw fees of about 12,000 Uganda shillings, if I remember correctly. When she withdraws that money from the system, and whatever mobile platform she's using benefits, because they're, that withdraw 12K. But then they're also charging me for sending her money already. If that money stays within the system and she doesn't have to withdraw that money, and she can pay her help, her customer, her workers, she can pay anyone else via mobile money or via a card, then I don't have to be sending that extra 12,000 because the money stays within the system, which eventually leads...
But even if she sends the payment to all these other people, there'll be transaction fees per transaction.
Yes.
So if you send the maid, there'll be a fee.
Yep.
The maid spends it on something else, there'll be a fee. So that fee still exists.
Yes.
I think the question there would be, can the cost of the transfer be a fraction of what it is now? But that's a question really for the
But
telcos
also
and the banks.
the withdrawing fees. If we take
Yeah.
out the withdrawing fees, it's like back in the day when people used to pay for there was that thing that telcos used service fee, right? It made it hard for people to get mobile phones. Service fee, when you take away service fee, then everyone literally had access to a mobile phone because it was much cheaper to maintain a mobile phone.
True.
So couldn't it be a similar scenario?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think those are two different questions. I think transaction fees and the cost of capital in this context are a bit different. The cost of capital, for example, if domestically in the region, right? Bonds in Uganda, coupon rates are currently at about 15 to 15.5%, right? Kenya, it should be, I think, about 12%, right? So if the least risky client in the region, the government, is borrowing that expensively, why would I then give someone else money to Arnold or money to this SME at a cheaper rate? I think that's where the question is.
Yeah.
So until that is addressed, it's very hard to bring the cost of capital.
How do we address it?
Those are now government efforts.
How do you think we should address it?
That's really a question for the government. Because until that is addressed, until we get a point where, let's say, government of Uganda comes in, they're doing a great part. And if they can support, let's say, local MFIs, local banks in the region, you have governments in, let's say EADB, for example, right? Providing a fund to, let's say, microfinances to bring the cost of financing down, where they provide X amount of money to Maru Credit, another company in Nairobi, another company in Kigali, at subsidized rates. This will then bring the cost of borrowing down to their clients because it's a development bank and impact is one of their things. So maybe that can help.
Josh, back to Josh personally. What's a day in the life of Josh like?
Okay, I starting from what time? Let me see. I wake up in the morning.
What time?
Depends on the day, but usually around 6 in the morning. Wake up at 6 a.m., have a conversation with my wife, kiss my daughter, get ready for work, say a prayer with them, go to office, and then I kickstart my day at around between 7:30 and 8. And that's meeting the teams that run Maru, finance, legal, credit, operations. We're on an expansion plan. So we meet the teams, we have a huddle session to get an idea of get an update of what's been happening. Then kickstart the day. My day is really fighting fires. That's what I do.
What are your two biggest values, personal values?
God and family.
What's one thing that you think you're good at that you're not using?
What am I good at that I'm not using? That's an interesting question. Yeah, if God gave it to me, I'm using it.
Yeah. Trojan horse of the youth versus the been there, done that experience mantle. What would you prefer?
The first one.
Trojan horse?
Yeah.
What's the one thing that has surprised you the most about life?
There are no do-overs.
There's no second chance.
There's no second chance. Yeah.
From a macro perspective, when you look at us as Africa, what is the one or two things that you think are slowing us down?
We're too fragmented. Everyone wants to do things alone. You know, our president keeps preaching Pan-Africanism and opening up the borders for EAC. And the more I do business, the more I realize the importance of this. So if the continent is just one market and it's not just Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda alone, if it's one big market, imagine how big it would be.
How much of success is luck versus skill?
Repeat that, how much?
Of how much of success is luck versus skill?
How much of success is luck versus skill? I feel it's preparation more than those two. You have to be prepared first. Luck is for gamblers.
What's one company that you look at and you're like, okay, if I'm given an option to run this company in the next 24 hours, it's the company that I would like to run anywhere in the world?
I am a big fan and admirer of the Mandela Group of companies in Uganda.
City Oil.
City Oil, Cafe Javas. What he has been able to do is inspirational. There is nothing new that he is selling that hasn't been here. Same in sausages and eggs. But the level of efficiency at which he does it is something that should be taught in our business schools.
If you are to teach one young person about just one important thing, and they want to be Joshua Mazune tomorrow, what is that one thing that you'll tell them, just focus on this, and you could be Joshua Mazune tomorrow?
If I was having this conversation with even my younger self, to be like, okay, one of the most important things is discipline in all aspects of your life, whether financial, whether professional. Discipline is the most important thing, right? Without that, it's hard to do anything. Discipline and patience. And you need to be patient enough so that you can slowly compound your growth.
If there's one question that you would have liked me to ask, and I've not asked it today, what's that one question?
No, I don't think I have any. No.
Two guests that you would like to have and watch on the show? Please keep it Africa.
Mandela. Mandela, definitely.
Yeah.
And who else? James Mwangi.
James Mwangi. We've had James Mwangi.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't watched that episode.
Yes, we've had James Mwangi. It was before it was called Pivot and Profit. Yeah, but we've had James Mwangi. But we can have James Mwangi again. Why not?
Great.
Josh, thank you for making the time.
Thank you, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Mazune. We are in Kampala at Motive. You have been watching another episode of Pivot and Profit. I've been your host, Arnold Quizera. Subscribe, find us across all your social media platforms at The K Financial, at Pace Productions, and you could find the podcast at any of our podcast channels, Spotify, Apple, on X, Twitter. I don't know if anyone calls it X. Yes, you will find us there. Thank you for being great guests again, and have a blessed rest of your day.